Hopalong Cassidy or Hopalong Cassidy is a fictional cowboy hero created in 1904 by the author Clarence E. Mulford, who wrote a series of popular short stories and many novels based on the character. In his early writings, Mulford portrayed the character as rude, dangerous, and rough-talking. From 1935, the character was played by movie actor William Boyd in films adapted from Mulford's books. Was transformed into a clean-cut hero. 66 popular films appeared, only a few of which relied on Mulford's stories. Mulford later revised and republished his works to be more consistent with the character's screen persona. Film history. As portrayed on the screen, white-haired Bill Hopalong Cassidy was usually clad strikingly in black. He was reserved and well-spoken, with a sense of fair play. He was often called upon to intercede when dishonest characters took advantage of honest citizens. Hoppy, and his white horse, Topper, usually traveled through the West with two companions, one young and trouble-prone with a weakness for damsels in distress, the other older, comically awkward and outspoken. The juvenile lead was successively played by James Ellison, Russell Hayden, George Reeves, Rand Brooks and Jimmy Rogers. George Hayes originally played Cassidy's grizzled sidekick, Windy Halliday. After Hayes left the series because of a salary dispute with producer Harry Sherman, he was replaced by the comedian Brightwood as Speedy McGinnis and finally by the veteran movie comedian Andy Clyde as California Carlson. Clyde, the most durable of the sidekicks, remained with the series until it ended. A few actors of future prominence appeared in Cassidy films, notably Robert Mitchum, who appeared in 7 films at the beginning of his career. The 66 Hopalong Cassidy pictures were filmed by independent producers who released the films through the studios. The first Hoppies, as the films were known, were distributed by Paramount Pictures to favorable returns, and United Artists was the distributor after Paramount. They were noted for fast action and outdoor photography. Harry Sherman wanted to make more ambitious movies and tried to cancel the Cassidy series, but popular demand forced Sherman back into production, this time for United Artists. Sherman gave up the series in 1944, but William Boyd wanted to keep it going. To do this, he gambled his future on Hopalong Cassidy, mortgaging most of what he owned to buy the character rights from Mulford and a backlog of movies from Sherman. In the first film, Hopalong Cassidy got his name after being shot in the leg. Hopalong's drink of choice was the non-alcoholic sarsaparilla. Television and radio. Boyd resumed production in 1946, on lower budgets, and continued through 1948, when B-westerns were being phased out. Boyd thought Hopalong Cassidy might have a future in television, spent $350,000 to obtain the rights to his old films, and approached the fledgling NBC network. The initial broadcasts were so successful that NBC could not wait for a television series to be produced and edited the feature films to broadcast length. On June 24, 1949, Hopalong Cassidy became the first network Western television series. The success of the television series made Boyd a star. The Mutual Broadcasting System began broadcasting a radio version, with Andy Clyde as the sidekick, in January 1950. At the end of September, the show moved to CBS Radio, where it ran until 1952. The series and character were so popular that Hopalong Cassidy was featured on the cover of national magazines such as Look, Life, and Time. Boyd earned millions as Hopalong, mostly from merchandise licensing and endorsement deals. In 1950, Hopalong Cassidy was featured on the first lunchbox to bear an image, causing sales for Aladdin Industries to jump from 50,000 to 600,000 in 1 year. In stores, more than 100 companies in 1950 manufactured $70 million of Hopalong Cassidy products, including children's dinnerware, pillows, roller skates, soap, wristwatches, and jackknives. There was a new demand for Hopalong Cassidy features in movie theaters, and Boyd licensed reissue distributor Film Classics to make new film prints and advertising accessories. Another 1950 enterprise saw the home movie company Castle Films manufacturing condensed versions of the Paramount films for 16mm and 8mm film projectors. They were sold through 1966. Also, In January 1950, Dan Spiegel began to draw a syndicated comic strip with scripts by Royal King Cole. The strip lasted until 1955. Boyd began work on a separate series of half-hour westerns made for television. Edgar Buchanan was his new sidekick, Red Connors. The theme music for the television show was written by Nacio Herb Brown and L. Wolf Gilbert. The show ranked number 7 in the 1949 Nielsen ratings, number 9 in the 1950-1951 season and number 28 in 1951-1952. The success of the show and tie-ins inspired juvenile television westerns such as The Range Rider, Tales of the Texas Rangers, Annie Oakley, The Gene Autry Show, and The Roy Rogers Show. After Boyd's death, his company devoted to Hopalong Cassidy, U.S. television office, retained control of Cassidy films but, by the mid-1960s, had withdrawn them from television and sales in home movie markets. This remained the situation until the mid-1990s, after many Cassidy fans had died, when the company made available to the Western Channel a package series of restored and cleaned negative-based prints of the films to cable TV. These remained available on that channel until 2000, when they were again withdrawn. Minimal effort was made at that time, nor has it been made since, to offer the films for home video, excepting 2 packages of compressed, multi-title Hopalong Cassidy anthology DVDs, the first requiring purchase of the entire TV series to obtain copies of about a dozen films and then, in 2014, a reissue of the remaining stock of these same DVD pressings combined with the remaining titles in a first-time pressing. The TV series can be currently seen on Cozy TV. Hop Island. On May 26, 1951, an amusement park named Hop Island opened in the Venice section of Los Angeles. This was an expansion and retheming of Venice Lake Park as Boyd became an investor. Standing on some 80 acres, it included a roller coaster, miniature railroads, pony rides, boat ride, Ferris wheel, carousel, and other thrill rides along with picnic grounds and recreational facilities. Despite Boyd's regular appearances as Hoppy at the park, it was not a success and shut down in 1954. In other media. Novels. Louis Lamont wrote 4 Hopalong Cassidy novels, which are still in print. In 2005, author Susie Kaufman published Follow Your Stars, new stories starring the character. In 3 of these stories, Kaufman wrote the wife of actor William Boyd into the stories. Comic books. Comic strips. Fawcett Comics published a Hopalong Cassidy comic book one-shot in 1943, followed by an ongoing series from 1946 1953, when the company ceased publishing. DC Comics took over the title in 1954 with issue number 86, publishing it until issue number 135, in 1959. Mirror Enterprises Syndicate distributed a Hopalong Cassidy comic strip starting in 1949. It was bought out by King Features in 1951, running until 1955. The strip was drawn by Dan Spiegel. Record readers. Beginning in 1950, Capitol Records released a series of Hopalong Cassidy record readers featuring William Boyd and music by Billy May, produced by Alan W. Livingston. Music. The song It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas includes a reference to Hopalong boots as a holiday gift desired by children. Museums. There have been museum displays of Hopalong Cassidy. The major display is at the Autry National Center at Griffith Park in Los Angeles, California. 15 miles east of Wichita, Kansas, at the Prairie Rose Chuckwagon Supper was the Hopalong Cassidy Museum. The museum and its contents were auctioned on August 24, 2007, owing to the failure of its parent company, Wild West World. DVD release. On June 16, 2009, Echo Bridge Home Entertainment released the Hopalong Cassidy Ultimate Collector's Edition, which included all 66 theatrical films on 14 DVDs, packed into a facsimile Hopalong Cassidy tin lunchbox. On June 7, 2011, Timeless Media Group released Hopalong Cassidy, the complete television series on DVD in Region 1. The 6-disc set features all 52 episodes of the series restored and remastered. See also, List of Hopalong Cassidy films. Hopalong Cassidy. References. Further reading, Caro, Joseph, Collector's Guide to Hopalong Cassidy Memorabilia, Caro, Joseph, Hopalong Cassidy Collectibles. CCN Publishing Euro 1300 Color Photos and Item Conditions, Drew, Bernard A., The Hopalong Cassidy Radio Program. Albany, Bear Manor Media ISBN 1-59393-006-2, Hall, Roger, Following the Stars, Music and Memories of Hopalong Cassidy. Staunton, Pine Tree Press, Perham, Joseph A., Reflections on Hopalong Cassidy, A Study of Clarence E. Mulford, Unpublished M.A. Thesis, University of Maine, Spiegel, Dan and Royal King Cole. Paragon Publications presents Clarence E. Mulford's Hopalong Cassidy and the Five Men of Evil. AC Comics ISBN 978-1-56225-002-7. External links, Hopalong Cassidy TV series at the Internet Movie Database, Hopalong Cassidy Music, Dan Spiegel, Hopalong Cassidy Illustrator, an interview with Joseph Caro.